Hi everyone, my name's Pieta Valentine. I've written 2 books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit. Today's session is on mother's room placement in a dementia unit. So, say with your mother, when you were looking around the dementia facility, you had wanted to get a room that was sunny, but you'd been unable to get that. There was only one room available. You'd had to wait 2 months on the waiting list to get it. There was nothing else there, and you more or less had to take it. Otherwise, you know, there'd be no options other than that. So you had to take this room for your mother, and it ended up being right at the end of the corridor, you know, 30, 40 metres away from the nurse's station and the general lounge. So that was an issue. It was not north facing. It was cold, it was damp, it was dark, because there was no sunlight pretty much and no view. It was looking onto a bank, you know, which created moisture anyway. And so, yeah, I mean, it was the same size as the other rooms in the whole floor, but didn't have, you know, the warmth or the view or the right location at all. What to do? Now, often what happens is that relatives will just put up with it. They'll think, oh, at least mum's got a place, she's cared for, you know, maybe she doesn't mind too much if she's got no view, she's not looking at it much anyway. And they just, you know, they don't think further about it. They don't realise that they absolutely have the power to be able to move their mother if they wish. I mean, in all the time I worked at dementia facilities, I think there was only 2 occasions I can think of where relatives actually moved their family member to a nicer spot in the facility. Other than that, everyone stayed put. But it's, you know, so much can be done, but on a number of levels need to be addressed. Okay, a number of processes need to be put in place. So firstly, observation. Go around the whole unit and see which are the best rooms, which rooms would best suit your mother, okay? So typically in a room, in a facility which has 30 rooms, there may be, say, 10 rooms that are north facing. So you want that side. You don't want the south facing side or the end of the corridor that also has no view, but you want the north facing side. Now often it's the north facing side that has all the flower gardens. So aim for that. North facing, sunshine, a nice view with some flowers or trees, with your mother having been a gardener in her day, so she'll love that. And if at all possible, if you can get the rooms closer to the nurse's station, because with your mother, typically of this age group as well, urinary incontinence and urgency is a problem, mainly because of age and also because they drink lots of cups of tea in a dementia facility, and it's all caffeinated. But, you know, very difficult to change that because this generation love their cup of tea. Morning and afternoon tea is a really big deal in a dementia unit, so you probably can't change that. But if you can get a room which is near the nurse's station, then it means your mother's only got to go generally, usually about 10, 20 metres to get to her bathroom and her room, rather than the 40 metres, double the distance. And also the other thing too is that if your mother's room is near the nurse's station, say three doors past the nurse's station on the right, say, it's much easier for her to find, isn't it? I mean, if she has direction or orientation problems, which many have, it's much easier to find your room 3rd on the right past the nurse's station rather than 13 on the right past the nurse's station. I mean, that's a lot of white doors you have to pass, and to get to your door, by the time you get there, you're probably exhausted. You know, you've got to focus all the way to see that it actually is your room. And finally, you know, hopefully you'll find it. But it's a much bigger mission to go past 13 doors and find your room, often the doors all being the same white sterile look, compared to 3 doors. So, okay, so you've worked all this out. Now, how on earth are you going to manage to get your mother into one of those rooms? Well, In a dementia facility, you know, I mean, obviously there's a limited time for some people there. Lots of people do stay there 3 years, 4 years even, but often, you know, if people fracture their hip or get pneumonia or need to be moved on to the hospital or to another place for assessment or on to further care or whatever, I mean, every few months generally, well, every few months there will be someone moving on. I mean, it goes in spikes, of course, but you can probably, you know, more or less guarantee within 8-12 weeks there will be a room available, probably on that side, if you go about it in the right way. So one way to go about it, probably the best way to go about it, firstly, it's all about communication and connections. Everything's about communication and connections in life, isn't it? Same in a dementia unit. So you've already set up a good relationship with the charge nurse and the clinical nurse, also with the doctor. He's actually a family doctor. That helps a lot. So go to the doctor's meeting, have it all sorted, which rooms, option of rooms you'd like your mother to go in, and put forward the case and say to the doctor and the clinical nurse at your family meeting, which are typically once every 3 months. But if you want to push the case forward further, ask for a special meeting, you know, and you can more or less have it within the next week or two, which is a good idea. I mean, waiting another 3 months if you've already had a meeting and, you know, you want to get this room sorted for your mother while the iron's hot, so to speak, it's good to organise a doctor's meeting, bring it up and say, look, I just want to discuss this aspect of my mother's room placement because, you know, she's having urinary incontinence problems. I'm sure, well, the staff are aware of that. She's breathless. She's got some heart failure. She finds it difficult to get to her room, and it really would be helpful if she could get a room closer to the nurse's station. And as well as that, you know, she's thin, she's frail, and she needs that warmth, and the warmth of the sunshine will really help her a lot, I'm sure, to be able to sustain her health if at all we possibly can. So, you know, generally that sort of stance a doctor and nurse will be warm to and say, yes, we'll consider that. We'll put that down in the notes. I mean, that's a good thing. At the doctor's meeting, it will be put down in the notes, and that's what you want. So then whatever bureaucratic process needs to be gone through, probably to the, you know, village manager or the real estate person that takes people around, you know, just say that you'd like to be first in line, if at all possible, of people for the room, you know, for a room on that side. And I mean, fair enough. I mean, you're the fee-paying client. Your mother's been there, what, say 3, 4, 5 months, whatever. And I mean, you really have a priority over and above a brand new resident coming in. If you approach it in this way, nicely, politely, chances are they'll oblige. So in that way, when and if one of the residents is moved on from one of the rooms, you're all set, you've got everything partly packed up, you've got, you know, you've often only got 24, 48 hours to do these things, by the way. It's always in a rush. So you've got things boxed up, packed up, ready to go. You've got your son with the trailer ready at any time. Oh no, you don't need a trailer, no. But big, strong son can come up and, or grandson can come up and move the bureau, which is heavy, and the chair, which is heavy. You can more or less move the room in, you know, few hours with his help, with someone else's help, because it's all there. I mean, you don't have to lug it upstairs or, you know, anywhere else. It's right there, just down the corridor. So look at that. The room came free, you were able to move in, everything's set up, it was warm, your mother had a beautiful view, it was close to the nurse's station, she could get to the bathroom quickly when she needed to, and she's all set up and happy. Not much of an effort for such a big return for your mother, so she can be comfortable and settle in happily. Very important, room placement. So thank you for your views and your likes and everything else. Please pass on. Thank you.